Welcome back to the Real Talk Podcast, episode 177. I'm your host, Nathan, and I'm joined by the man himself, Matthew Neves, to my left.
Thank you. Thank you.
And today, for episode 177, we are going to be talking about the film Seven
Yep.
because this year is the film's 30th anniversary of the David Fincher classic Seven.
That's crazy.
It's
30
crazy
years.
that it's a 30-year-old film.
Holy shit.
And yeah, like they re-released a lot of Fincher's films in theaters recently.
Yeah. They released obviously Seven. They released Fight Club. I think Girl with Dragon Tattoo, Panic
Mhm.
Room, a few others.
Yeah.
So I was able to watch Seven in IMAX, Toronto. That was a great experience. I think it was the first Fincher film, the only Fincher film I saw in theaters because a lot of his stuff is Netflix now.
That's right, The Killer.
I'm just taking that in. Yeah. Wow. Holy
Yeah.
shit! I saw Seven at 7 p.m. We're going full seven,
There's
guys.
a lot of sevens.
A lot
eh?
of sevens.
It was just meant to be. We were meant to do this episode. And
Mhm.
yeah, we just kind of wanted to, do a rewatch of Seven, talk about it, see how it holds up 30 years later. Is this
Mhm.
film getting better? Is the film getting worse?
Yeah.
And I'm here to say that this film gets better with every rewatch.
Oh yeah. I fully agree. It's one of those movies where you watch it and you're like, it feels so modern, despite being 30 years old. It doesn't feel like a 1995 film. It's kind of like Heat. You
Yeah.
watch Heat and you're
It's
just like,
timeless.
the way it's lit, the way it's shot, the performances. You're just like, this could be made today.
You can't guess the year. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
true.
that's fucking amazing. So we're gonna go more into this movie, unlike our episode on David Fincher, where we covered most of his
Yeah.
filmography and kind of didn't dive too much into Seven. So this is the
Yeah,
episode
we're
for that.
gonna dive into Seven. Had an interesting production. It was Fincher had an interesting time of his career,
Yeah.
so I want to kind of get into that. So the origins of this script. This script was written by Andrew Kevin Walker,
Mm.
and it was inspired by his own experience living in New York as like a lonely, depressed writer.
Jeez, there's a lot of those.
And yeah, it was like initially kind of considered to be too dark. The infamous head in the box ending
Yeah.
was
Wow.
almost didn't happen.
Yeah.
The
That's
original
crazy.
ending
That's
to
nuts.
Seven almost didn't happen. It had really poor test screenings,
Oh.
and they wanted to change it, but Pitt insisted on it, and thank God he did.
Hmm. Did I mention the alternative ending
Yeah, I think we did
with
back in
Morgan
the day, but
Freeman being
let's
the one? Yeah.
yeah, let's talk about that again. What was the alternative ending?
Alternative ending was the box, obviously, head in the
Yeah,
box. But instead of Pitt shooting Kevin Spacey, it was Morgan Freeman. And I feel like that ruins the film if they did that, because that's not the arc that that character was going through.
no,
And the more when I rewatched Seven in theaters, I realized something. Like, and again, maybe this is obvious to most people, but it's more Morgan Freeman's arc. He's more of a main character in this than Pitt is.
yeah, he is.
And because of that, I think this might be his best performance. I'm just saying, because if we're talking supporting acting and stuff like that, like I do think Shawshank is up there,
Yeah,
but I feel more of his supporting actor. Whereas this, he's the lead, dude. He's the fucking lead, and there are so many scenes in it where he outshines Brad Pitt.
I agree.
Holy fuck,
I
man.
agree. Let me give you some casting what ifs for
Go for it.
Somerset.
Yeah.
First of all, Detective Somerset, all time name.
It's great.
Detective Mills,
Yeah.
all time name.
Yeah,
The
man.
names in this film are perfect.
Iconic.
Fincher knows how to Fincher knows how to use like he picks good names in this
Oh,
film.
yeah.
Iconic names. Anyway, Al Pacino, Robert Duvall, and Gene Hackman all turned down the role of Detective Somerset. How do you feel about those three?
If I had to choose in an alternative world, out of those three, who would be the best to play Somerset? I'm gonna be honest. Probably Hackman. Probably Hackman. I'm not kidding. I don't think Duvall and Pacino would be as good as Hackman in this particular role. I feel like Pacino, s- even in his 50s, he seemed too young to play
Yeah,
Somerset. And Duvall, around that time, I would say he was too old. I think Hackman would be the right age and look for Somerset out of those three.
yeah.
It's like too young and too old, too energetic and too like I feel like Duvall would have felt more like
Hackman is like he has the police detective like
but this would
archetype.
be a different
It's
police.
it's a different police detective, but Morgan Freeman just.
Oh no, he's out of
Yeah.
no. Freeman was the best out of. I'm saying the what if between the
Yeah.
three. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, how about the killer casting what ifs?
Okay.
Instead of Kevin Spacey, Ned Beatty was offered the role.
Ned
Val
Beatty.
Kilmer was
Oh,
also considered.
Ned Beatty's a little older. That's an interesting
That's an
choice.
interesting one, right? I was not expecting him. Val Kilmer, okay, I could kind of see maybe. I don't think it'd be the same kind of cold performance, but
Again, the best performance we got was the one in the movie.
yeah,
At
I
the
get
end of the
like
day,
always the right pick.
but between Ned Beatty and Val Kilmer, I could see Kilmer pulling it off pretty
Yeah,
well.
that
Yeah.
would be a cool role to see
Damn,
Kilmer in.
I did not know that shit.
Where Fincher's at this time. I mean, he did Alien 3. His last film before this was Alien 3.
Yeah, he was in a. He did not like the production of that at
I
all.
think he was quoted as this might be a paraphrase, but I'm pretty sure he said, "I'd rather get cancer than direct another film."
Yeah, that sounds about right.
After doing Alien 3, he was miserable. He was like, "Fuck this! I'm not doing films no more."
It sucks because if you look at the behind the scenes of Alien 3, it wasn't just him that felt miserable. Everyone felt
Yeah,
miserable. Like and it sucks because everyone was like this could have been something. It kind of gives me Godfather 3 vibes of actors working on it where it's just like yeah, the environment, like production, audience's reception towards the movie and stuff like that. It was just very toxic. Like nobody really wanted to be there. Everyone had a check, and Fincher tried to make
yeah.
a film of his own, and the studio was like, "Fuck you," type of thing. So, yeah, I don't blame him for saying that.
Another casting. What if Denzel Washington was initially offered the role of Detective Mills, but turned it
Hmm.
down
How old would Denzel have been around this time?
in '95?
Late 30s, probably, right?
Yeah, younger than when he's an American Gangster.
Yeah.
Well, when did Training Day come out?
Training Day was 2001. So it was
Oh,
a little.
so yeah,
This was before Training Day,
yeah,
but
he could be the young, like naive detective.
it was after Malcolm X and before Training Day. Oh, but he's too much of like
He's too cool.
he's too cool. I can't picture him breaking down at the heads at with the box in the head or whatever. I don't know. Brad Pitt has this younger, naive outlook that I'm more convinced of than if Denzel did it. Maybe if Denzel in the 80s, I could see more of.
Brad Pitt's so fucking good in this
Right?
movie.
Fuck, man.
Like it's a special Brad Pitt performance.
And this is still like Brad Pitt when he's like doing earlier roles and stuff like that. Like he had a small role in Thelma and Louise,
Yeah,
and I think he had an even smaller role in True Romance. I think
yeah,
playing the pot smoker. So people are like, "Oh, it's just some good looking guy." Like, okay, we'll have him here and there, but no, he fucking owns it in this movie.
yeah. The emotion, the drama, he kills it.
Hmm.
Sylvester Stallone and Kevin Costner were considered.
Jesus fucking as what? Who the fuck were they gonna play?
Mills?
Stallone?
Wait,
No,
that can't-
Costner was
no,
Mills.
sorry,
Costner would have been
sorry.
Mills.
Yeah, Costner would have been Mills.
Stallone would have been. Oh, that's bad.
Stallone would have to been.
That's bad,
That would have been.
No.
That would have been.
Okay, you know what? Fuck it. If it was between Pacino, Duvall, and Hackman and Stallone is dead fucking last. Jesus Christ. He does not give that vibe at
Oh
all.
man.
You know, he might have given that vibe if it was during like Creed.
Yeah.
Like when he's older. He's in his 50s. Like, no. No, I'm
No,
sorry.
hell no.
No. Fuck, man.
They filmed this movie in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Which is crazy how they made Los Angeles look so dark.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie like never has any sort of sunlight or like it's always dark, it's always raining.
Yeah.
And I love that it's a nameless city. They never say where they are.
That's good. I just took that in.
It's
Yeah.
like they're living in this like it's like this
But the way it's lit, it's like New
purgatory.
York.
yeah.
It reminds me of New York, Brooklyn. But when you're saying LA, that production must have had a shit time in terms of annoyance of the scheduling because
Yeah.
remember the last scene with like that sunset and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Dude, that's LA, man. Oh my god. There's probably somebody who was like checking out the weather and it's like, okay, we have this much time left. And you know Fincher with his 20 takes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
God. Wow.
This movie cost $33 million and it made 327 million worldwide. It was a smash hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this was the serial killer movie.
Well, it was the one that, like, just cut out the bullshit and was just like, "This is brutal.
Yeah.
It's gonna be brutal." And even in the theater, there was a lot of people there. I was overhearing people. They were like, "This is my first time seeing it and stuff." First of all, I was like, "What the fuck does he mean first time?"
Oh, I would pay money to see this film for the first time again, especially the way you saw it
Yeah,
in IMAX.
because there was people behind me that were saying that, and they were like, "Oh my fucking god!" At parts of when you find the dead body and stuff. Every time they show the dead body and the way it was done and stuff like that, they were like, "Oh my fucking god!" They were still shocked,
Yeah.
and it's like I want that. That's the
You're
thing.
talking about the one where the one where he's like still alive, moving.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
that
fucking.
one
They
is
didn't. Yeah,
that's
they jumped.
that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
The visual effects in this movie
Hmm.
are insane.
They were amazing. Still amazing.
The guy who did it, I wrote the note here. Um,
Rob
Rob
Bottin.
Bottin, who
Whew.
did the effects for The Thing.
Get the fuck out of here. He did the effects for Seven too.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope he unlike the thing where he had sleepless nights. I hope he was able to get some sleep for this
But
film.
man, did he kill it! Like
Yeah.
the gluttony kill.
Yeah.
Holy fuck! The one where he's in the apartment and he's like looks like
Crazy.
a pure zombie, but it looks like The Thing almost. That
I
character.
can see, yeah.
I see it. I see it. I do.
Shit.
Um, yeah, that's shout out to Rob Bottin. Like, what a legend.
And again, this is Fincher with his VFX knowledge and stuff like that. Like the film, has those moments, but you don't feel it. You don't feel like, oh, it's all VFX, it's all, this and
They're
that.
not relying on it. It
No.
just adds to the devastation and darkness
Mhm.
of this film. And they don't harp on it. They don't use it as like an excuse or like it's
Yeah.
this kind of movie, gore for gore's sake.
Right. And obviously, a movie like Fight Club uses computer generated imagery far more noticeably for style, whereas this film is more pre CGI still.
Mhm.
At least from what I noticed. All the special effects you were talking about, they're practical. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
New Line wanted a sequel
Of course they did.
because
Every studio wants it.
the movie made $300 million. 8 was a planned sequel.
Oh, wow. It was
And
clever.
the script was written by
Mhm.
Ted Griffin and Sean Bailey, and it was going to be about, follow me here,
Mhm.
the FBI having a psychic track down a serial killer.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? Did you ever watch the show Hannibal?
I didn't.
He kind of gives off that vibe of being a psychic,
Hmm.
but also detective. He was a detective, but also a psychic, being like, I think I know what the killer did here and there.
But what the fuck does that have to do with Seven?
Oh, absolutely nothing. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. I bet you $1,000,000 David Fincher saw the script and was like, fuck that, threw
Yeah.
it in the trash.
Yeah, that's
Is
exactly
it?
what
Did he
happened.
actually?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a yeah, there's
He probably.
no,
What the
there's
fuck
a
is this?
there's a legendary quote that I will look for, but he says something about he rather like put out a cigarette in his eyeballs or something than
That is more harsh than what Rodney Dangerfield said about Caddyshack 2, because they gave him the script to Caddyshack 2. It was like, fuck this, and he
Yeah.
threw it across the room. Wow. That's amazing. I figured.
Obviously, he fucking hated that idea, and that's a terrible idea. It makes no sense. It's not even a sequel. It just
Would they have brought
gotta
back
use the name.
any of the actors from the previous film?
They wanted to. They had no interest in
Good.
doing it.
Fucking good.
The film. Okay, I want to talk about some sequences in this film.
Of course.
I love the sequence where they end up at the killer's apartment and he's coming home with the groceries, and then the chase ensues.
Yeah, man.
That chase is masterful directing.
Yeah. It's masterful because of the fact that it's not shaky cam. It's none of this bullshit where it's like Jason Bourne, like, oh, where's Brad Pitt go? No, you know what he's doing. You follow his character running, and the very end of that fucking scene with that close up of the gun.
Oh my god. It's a climax in the middle of the film, like a huge climax. It's this rewatch really like made me like I was locked into that scene, and now that I've seen this film a good amount of times, this rewatch, that scene really hit me hard as
Yeah.
like perfect filmmaking.
Oh yeah.
Perfect filmmaking. I was like, wow, this is so good. Like when after this scene, like how are you not so locked into this movie? Like
Oh yeah.
you're in on that ride. Like,
Yeah.
it's so unexpected. You're not expecting to see that killer in that scene.
Yeah.
They're going to
Very
his
unexpected.
apartment. It's like, what's going on? I even like, like they try to find the cover, so he gets that girl to like tell the police story.
Perfect.
It's
Perfect.
such a fun
It's
little
such a it's so in for the character to do that. Brad Pitt's character. It's like
yeah.
that makes sense because like Morgan Freeman's like, we can't do
He
this. Like you
kicks
just
in the door. And he's like, "Oh, wait, no use in arguing. I did it already."
Yeah, literally. And that's perfect. That's a great dynamic for those characters. Another thing I liked about that chase sequence was you kind of get a little foreshadowing of a lot of shots that Fincher would use in his later films. Like I said, that gunshot close up,
yeah,
very Zodiac.
yeah, for sure, of
That part
course.
where he opens the chamber or whatever of his gun, it reminded me of a similar gun too.
Here's another one of my favorite scenes that you might not expect to be one of my favorite scenes is when they invite Detective Somerset to their apartment for dinner.
Oh, that's one of my favorite scenes too. It's
It's
fucking great. It's perfect development of these characters done in a way that you're just like super invested in. Like, oh man,
that's what these films don't do enough of
yeah,
in this genre.
oh yeah,
You look, it's a fun genre, and there's great movies like this, but usually they're relying on the plot, like solving the murder, and
right,
they don't take the time to necessarily have these character moments like this
yeah,
film does.
exactly.
This film has perfect character moments when they're just laughing about it being right next to the subway and the
Yeah,
whole house shaking. I love that scene.
it's great. It's great because you need a scene like that in order for the ending, the
And
climax to be more tragic.
how much does that scene make you love his wife? And it tells you
It's-
everything about the kind of person that she is.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
wife wants to talk to you.
It's perfect. It shows the innocence of that character so well, so masterfully. I'll tell you my favorite scene from this film because upon rewatch, what I love about rewatching films, I don't do it too often because there's so many movies,
Yeah, oh yeah.
but rewatching this film, you discover so much because you know the ending. You know what happens to these characters. You know her end. The scene at the diner with her and Morgan Freeman. That's my favorite scene.
Such a good scene.
Because Morgan Freeman tells her an anecdote about his life and she's holding back tears. He's holding back tears too. And you know how these characters end up in the end. So you watch that film, you watch that scene, you're just like, fuck, man, they're both really good. They're both trying to hold it in. It's like, I don't know if I should have this baby or not. It's like so well done. And again, it's a very straightforward scene in terms of its shooting.
Yeah.
Shot reverse shot, wide shot, just showing their faces, their reactions. When he ends off his story, they cut to her almost crying. And I'm like, yeah.
It's these character moments that you just don't get in your typical detective film.
Mhm.
This movie is a dark
Mhm.
take on Chinatown. It's like,
Yeah.
it
I
gives
mean,
me,
Chinatown's pretty fucking dark too, but
this
yeah.
one's even like it
In
manages to
terms of
go
graphic, yeah.
farther,
Yeah, it does.
right?
Yeah.
It manages to go farther, and I'd argue it makes you care about the characters more.
I think it's a different type of era because
Yeah.
Chinatown was the 70s. This is like Chinatown in the 90s where,
This is yeah.
you can't do anything. They won. This
Yeah.
guy proved himself right, when you do these actions. And it's a weird reflection of that shown in the movie because it isn't just a lot of copycats of Seven, similar to like movies like Star Wars and stuff. They copy the things that people are like, yeah, it's cool, but like it's not just gore.
Yeah.
We're not just doing this for gore. We're not just doing this for like Kevin Spacey's character being the serial killer. We gotta like No Country for Old Men isn't like Seven
Right.
because of its brutal deaths and Javier Bardem do it. No, it's because of the characters.
Yeah.
You care for them more.
Yeah. And like Chinatown, this film has one of the best ending lines.
Dude.
Chinatown obviously has the
Forget it, Jake. It's China.
"Forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown,"
Classic.
and that's one of the best lines. That's one of the best ways to end a movie in all film.
Yeah.
But Morgan Freeman's narration, Ernest Hemingway once wrote, "The world is a fine place and worth fighting for. I agree with the second part.
Yeah. Fuck. I agree with the second
Goosebumps, bro.
because it still brings it back. He doesn't just say that out of the blue because remember that conversation he had with Brad Pitt at the bar
Yeah.
where, he's like, "I think there's, like you can't just simplify a killer and stuff like that." And Brad Pitt's like, "Why
Yeah.
not? They're fucking stupid. They can't do this or this or this." And, like, again, you rewatch it, the foreshadowing, you're like, "Fuck, man, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what's gonna happen."
With a movie that's so famous for a twist ending, rewatch it. It has so much rewatchability. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, the
Mhm.
shock of this movie is the ending
Oh,
for
yeah.
somebody who hadn't seen it for the first time, and that's probably what you take away. And you're like,
Mhm.
wow, that movie had an incredible ending. But then if you go see it again, you know the ending,
Mhm.
and it still hits. I'd argue it's even better because you get those foreshadowing pieces.
Yeah. You rewatch those little moments that you don't think about as often,
Yeah.
but you realize, no, it's all coming together. It
Yeah.
needs to all come together. And again, the climax is like when they're in the car talking, it's a long scene,
Yeah.
but you're just invested. You're like, what's going to happen? Like, there's got to be something going on.
You think like, okay, they got him. They're gonna put this guy to justice one way or another. I think you're thinking, are they gonna kill him or not?
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking.
But the helicopter's there, so they're going to see them. So
But
it's
you're
like,
thinking there's gonna be some redemption here,
yeah.
and then there isn't. But then the last line gives you some of that redemption because it's like it's still worth fighting for.
Yeah.
The world is still worth fighting for. There's still the message, even though the film's message was like the
Yeah.
world's fucked
The world's fucked.
and there is no justice.
But it's coming from Morgan Freeman's character. Hence why, upon rewatch, I was just like, he really is like the perfect character for this type of movie.
Yeah.
It's the older detective right before retirement. And again, we've seen this trope so many fucking times. But the way it's done here is even more extreme because of how brutal it is, because of how insane it is. There's always going to be somebody out there that does this.
You're
We
right, Nev. It's his best performance, bro.
Right?
You're
I'm
right.
just saying, like, it's like fucking amazing because I love Fincher's direction for so many things. And to be honest, I feel like he's directed Brad Pitt in uh other movies that he's worked on better. Just hear me out because I think Fight Club, even Benjamin Button, I think are better performances than this. But Brad Pitt is like the starting point of when people saw this movie and they're like, we gotta put him in more shit. This guy's too fucking good.
I agree.
He's too fucking
A
good.
pivotal film in his career. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like a Tom Cruise where it's like, oh, the heartthrob in his 20s and stuff. I think Seven is the one where people are like, okay, no, this is.
Yeah, it's a really important film for him. I think
Mhm.
if he doesn't do seven, the trajectory of his career is completely different.
And Morgan Freeman's too, in terms of like, obviously this came out right after Shawshank, but this is the
What a
one.
what a
Right?
run Morgan was on, bro.
Holy shit! But here's the thing: a lot of people don't know a lot of his work from the 70s and 80s. It
Yeah.
wasn't until the 90s and 2000s and even 2010s where it's like, oh, we know him from so many
Yeah.
things, so
I
many.
want I want to go back and watch some of his older stuff. I haven't had a chance to yet.
Yeah, same. I mean, I want to do an episode on him, try to find an older film and try to
Yeah.
find a newer film, compare,
I think that
contrast.
would be cool. I
Yeah.
think that would be cool. Um Final reflections on Seven. Is it Fincher's best movie?
No, but it needed to exist in order to get even more amazing films from Fincher, from Morgan Freeman, from Brad Pitt.
So where does it rank now?
Where does it rank? Definitely like top three.
Top three.
I'll put him top three. Yeah.
For me, it's
It's his
number.
best.
I'm locking in number one.
Damn!
Yeah.
Better than Fight Club?
Yeah, bro.
Better than Fight Club.
This rewatch specifically hit me in a different way, and I think this film is perfect. Script, cinematography, casting, performances. I can't find anything that I'd change. Dead ass, I can't.
It's a beautiful turning point for Fincher because if he didn't make this film, you know what he would have been? Just making commercials, probably.
Yeah, music videos and commercials.
This gave him hope. This gave him inspiration to keep making movies, to keep working on it, and that's where you get his amazing filmography that he's still working on to this day.
Yeah, pivotal movie for Fincher as well as Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
Wow. Damn.
it's a great movie. I got more emotional in this rewatch than I did the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it, I was more shocked. This was a more emotional. I feel like I'll be getting more emotional the more times I see this movie. So
Final ratings for 7, 30 years later.
yeah, man.
This
What
is a 5 out of 5, a 10 out of 10, a perfect film. That's
Beautiful.
that's my opinion.
You're 5 out of 5. I'm probably gonna go 4 out of 5, but again, like, as time goes on, this is just the 30th anniversary. Who knows? Maybe 10 years from now, I'll give this a 5 out of 5. I'll give
Yeah.
this a 9 out of 10. Doesn't matter. It's gonna be amazing.
It's one of those movies that, like, you just know you're gonna see another 5 times in your life.
Oh, more than
At
5
least,
times. More, at least 5 times,
you
but
know?
I feel like more for me, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, happy 30th anniversary to Seven.
Mm.
Let us know your rating of the film in the comments below. Let us know yeah, let us know what you think if you got to see it in theaters recently. And don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to your boys. It means the world to us. And most importantly, do not forget to take care, brush your hair.
Peace.